Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Welcome to 2025. Was it 2025 on our last one?
It was the day before
Oh, yeah.
2025 on our last one. We were New Year's Eve.
It's been Tuesday every day for 2 weeks, so we don't know. Anyway, happy 2025.
Yes, Happy New Year.
Yeah. Today we're going to talk a little bit about setting intentions for the year and for moving forward. We don't really like resolutions.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of people don't like that anymore because you never hold them, you never keep them.
Right. And that's the thing. And people associate that word resolutions with I'm not keeping it. It's just going to be like a couple of weeks and it's going to die down.
Right.
And that's not really an effective intention for your year. My
No.
intention is to set this resolution, then give up on it. Well, why would you even make it then? What's the point of that?
Yeah.
What's the point?
I know.
So it's that association is there. That's I don't really prefer it.
No. And why did we even do that for so many years? I don't know.
We didn't look up the whys and the hows of resolutions before we did this. We probably should have.
Right.
We do like history and interesting facts,
Yeah.
fun facts.
Yeah.
But we don't have that information. But another thing is I feel like setting goals is something that's overused as well.
Yeah.
And so we kind of like the word intentions because it's a little bit more broad of a term.
Yeah.
It's a term that you're still creating, you're consciously creating what you want for your year, but in a slightly different way. And so we're going to kind of talk about a little bit of our tips for setting intentions, which we'll go more in depth in at a later time because we're going to do a workshop.
Yeah.
Later this year. That's going to be amazing.
And we can maybe do that live on YouTube.
Ooh, maybe. I don't know if we can go live on YouTube yet or not, but if we can.
Yeah. Or anyway, we can do it on Zoom and put it on YouTube later.
Yeah. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So watch for that when we bring that up soon.
Yeah.
Where it's the works.
Yeah. One of the things that I have seen in a couple of workshops that I've been on online the last week or so, was reflecting back a little bit, but not dwelling on like 2024, the year behind, and just to mostly find out what worked and what didn't, and bring the things that worked ahead, but leave the things back that aren't working anymore or that didn't work for you.
Right.
And today in a workshop, in a meeting I was on, we talked about if things aren't working, move forward faster. Don't dwell on something and try it for 6 months and it's still not working.
Right.
In business we were talking about then, but be a lot, make sure that it's not going to work, like actually put in the time and do it, be consistent with things for a bit, but don't waste a lot of time if it doesn't feel right for you. And if it doesn't look like it's gonna start to do anything.
Right. I feel like a lot of people push when they are like, I don't know if this feels right, I don't know if this is working, but I'm gonna push forward anyway and just see what happens. Well, sometimes you can get somewhere with that, but for the most part, no, because what you're doing is you're building up resistance to your own success in that moment.
Yeah.
And so if it's not working, that might be a time to pivot.
Yeah.
To something that feels better, something that will start the ball rolling in the direction that you want, a different step or a different direction or whatnot. So it can be a good idea to assess. Yeah. Where are you at with something and where do you want to go with it? And as you're practicing the thing that you're doing to get there, is it working? Is it not? What's working? What's not? Yeah. So you can pivot in that moment, because just because you have a definite thing that you're working towards or an intention for a year doesn't mean that you can't change it throughout the year. It doesn't mean that you can have an awareness and kind of shift the direction that you want to go. So that's another thing about goals, a lot of people define a goal as something very finite. With an
Mhm.
intention, it's something that you want for yourself, and you can shift it and change it as you evolve, because
Yeah,
they will shift and change as you evolve. And if you meet one of the things for your intentions, you can continue it throughout the year. Like goals, a lot of times it's like it's one and done, but with intentions, you can, like, I intend to enjoy um more and more of my time. Well,
Mhm.
you enjoy 2 days this week instead of one. So yeah, I can make that more and more and more. And pretty soon I'm enjoying every single day. And if I'm
Right.
enjoying every single day, well, I want to continue that intention,
Yeah,
right? It's
yeah.
not something you just, okay, it's done now. I can give up on enjoying every day.
Mhm.
So it's just kind of an example of where you can go with intentions versus goals.
Yeah, yeah, I like that. Um, uh, and I like it myself, I get overwhelmed if I try to plan too far ahead.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like plans because I usually don't stick to them. Kind of like, I just, with intentions, it's a lot easier to stick to for me. It doesn't feel tied down or chained to them,
Yes.
it feels a lot easier. And if you set intentions about how you want to feel
Mhm.
within your business or within your life, or whatever that is that you're working on, and you can do different ones for your life and different ones for your business and kind of put them together, but don't try and do too much at once, because that does create overwhelm, and then you get stuck so
Right.
much faster.
Right, because
Yeah.
people feel like they have to, well, you have to keep moving towards, like, well, I have to push it, push it, push it, and then they burn out,
Right,
and then they get stagnant and do nothing.
yeah.
And that's a lot of times what happens with resolutions.
Mhm.
People like they're go, 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 and then they burn out on it because they realize that they can't maintain that energy
Yeah.
that they're putting into it. And so intentions is more about I'm building towards something in particular
Mhm.
versus I'm gonna do all of these things, because that's another thing. People get overwhelmed with all of the things that they've decided
Yeah.
to do, even if it's just one or two things. Sometimes people are like,
Mhm.
I'm gonna work out every single day. Well, that's how much have you been working out before? Have you been
Right.
working out 5 days a week? And so adding two more really isn't that bad?
Yeah,
Or have you not been working out at all? Now you're gonna work 7 days a week and you're gonna burn out in 2 weeks.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's not gonna work.
So you can't get there from where you're at.
Yeah.
And so intentions, they kind of help you to ease into and move forward towards what you want, building
Mhm.
the cooperative components for you, and also allowing you to take inspired action towards things rather
Yeah.
than I have to do this, then I do this, then I do
Yeah.
this and do this, because it doesn't work for a lot of us.
Right.
A lot of us don't like that. Some people really love that structure, but that's
Mhm.
just a few of us.
Yeah.
Most of us, we like to have a bigger picture in mind and then go, okay, well, what's step one?
Mhm. Yeah.
What am I going to do first? What am I going to focus on
Mhm.
first? And the good thing about intentions is you decide to have these things, right? And that's a big part of intentions, is making the decision. I've decided
Yeah.
to have this in my life, or have more of this in my life, or less of this in my life. I've made that decision and that's already out there. And um, and so that's a really big piece
Mhm.
of it.
Yeah. Um, I lost my thought there.
Yeah, I know mine went, I was like, I was going somewhere with that.
Yeah,
I got halfway there.
right. Um, oh, one of the things that we learned in coaching, don't set something that is so far out there that it's way too hard to achieve, and you're gonna
Mhm.
feel defeated before you even start.
Right.
So, set little intentions, like working out. Well, I'm gonna work out 3 days this week. Something that you can achieve. It's still a little stretch if you start from not working out at all,
Right.
but okay, I can handle 3 days or go for a walk 3 days a week. If you start small, pretty soon you're building up to reaching that end intention, and it's a
Right.
lot easier. You're not gonna get overwhelmed if you do it that way.
Right.
Like you said, what's my step one? I just need a start,
Right. And like, think about this, a lot of people, we talk about a lot of times figure out how you want to feel.
Mhm.
Because that's really
Yeah.
important. How do I want to feel in this area of my life? A lot of people, one of the things they really want, and they think other things will give it to them, is happiness, more happiness in their lives.
Yeah.
And so if you start with, okay, well, I want more happiness in my life. That's one of my
Mhm.
intentions is I want to be happier this year. I want to enjoy more of my time.
Yeah.
Well, you could go, okay, well, what can I do for myself this week that would bring me happiness each day?
Mhm.
Even just one thing. That way I know I'm increasing my happiness because I know I'm doing one extra thing that makes
Yeah.
me happy each day.
Yeah.
Or one extra thing even this week, if that seems like it's too much.
Mhm.
Or do the same thing every single day or whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
But at least you're doing something, but you're not going like, okay, this is my whole plan for the year. You're going, this is my plan for the week.
Mhm.
This is my plan for tomorrow, even.
Yeah.
If a week is too much, you're like, I'm not even sure if I can do that all week. Well, what can I do tomorrow?
Right.
That would be like something that would make me happy. Well, I can do this one thing tomorrow, that'll take 5 minutes. I have 5 minutes. I can figure that out.
Yeah.
So you have to figure out, okay, what's the bigger picture, but also where should I start?
Yeah.
Where can I start?
Mhm.
And maybe you're like, I don't know what the whole big plan will be for the year,
Mm.
but I know kind of one thing that I want, so I can start there and build on that. And
Yeah.
then as you do those things, you'll get inspired to other things, and get inspired to other things, and you'll build on that, but not at a pace that's like where you burn out.
Right.
You
And
want to continue because it'll be fun.
yeah, yeah, that's really key is wanting to do it because it's fun. It's an adventure all the way there,
Right.
And that's the fun thing about setting intention or even a solid goal. Reaching the goal isn't the fun part. It's the way to get there, the adventure along the way, just like a road trip, yeah, you have that end destination. But there's so much fun you can have on the way.
Yeah.
The end is just the icing on the cake,
Exactly.
So yeah, same way with intentions, same way with setting up what you want to do for the year or in your year coming up. I like the idea of first be kind of, if you have intentions a little bit in your mind, then thinking about your end, the end of the year, like, okay, so on December 31st, 2025, jump into that body and that mindset and see what that feels like. What have you accomplished? Just think about your dream year. What did you do? What did you get to do? What fun things did you get to do? And a lot of times things will come to you that you haven't even thought about yet, that you can put on your list of intentions. And then you can kind of work backwards and say, okay, in order to do this, what do I have to do to set that up? So yeah, that's a fun way to do it so it doesn't feel overwhelming. What do I have to start now? Say you want to make $50,000 in your business for the year. Okay, so how much is that per month? And then how much is that per week? And okay, if that feels good, like I can probably do that, how much do I need to make a day? Well, if you set your intention and decide that that's what you want, it's gonna start flowing to you. The universe is gonna start bringing those little things to you to show you the way to get there.
Right. And that's one thing that I like about, you decide you're going to have it. But I like what you're saying is when you start at the end,
Mhm.
and what does it look like at the end, at that ultimate, yes, this is like the best year ever.
Yeah,
And working backwards is it, you've already made the decision that this year is going to be the
Yeah.
best year.
yeah,
And then you're like, okay, so working backwards, you can see how everything can come together to create that. You can see the different pieces. You can see, okay, well, where am I at right now? And what's step one towards getting there when you work backwards like that.
Mhm.
And if you're really not sure, well, that you might get those inspired ideas like you talked about, or
Yeah.
there's other people that maybe where you've met that could give you ideas on how to get there, or you can consult with like let's say it's business. You can consult with like the what's it called? There's like different places have like actual business centers that you can go
Oh,
and you can
yeah.
ask questions and how do I do this and how do I do that and things like that.
Yeah.
Or you can go to meetups of
Mhm.
other people that have successfully
Yeah.
done those things that you're looking for. There's
Yeah.
like so many ways to begin to achieve that. If you figure out
Right.
what's step one, well, step one is maybe talking to somebody who's done it.
Mhm. And going to networking groups or,
Yeah.
things like that to meet other people that have already achieved what you want to achieve. And, most of the time they're friendly and open to helping you get started. So, yeah, it's fun to do it in a way that you're not going to get overwhelmed. And if you start to get overwhelmed, step back a little and then take smaller steps. It's going to get you a lot further if you don't let yourself get to that overwhelmed point.
That's when you stop and take a breath.
Yeah.
And go, okay, I'm getting too far ahead of myself. That's what overwhelm usually is you're thinking about all the things ahead, all the things behind, and everything in between, but not right now.
Mhm.
And so if you bring yourself back to right now, okay, all right, I have this list, but what's step one today?
Mhm. Yeah.
Can I even take step one today, or do we need to take today off, chill out,
Right.
and decide what's my step one tomorrow?
Mhm.
That's one of the things that kind of helps you with burnout is to, when you start feeling that way, take that step back.
Yeah.
Take a pause. It's just a pause though. You're not giving up. You're pausing.
Yeah.
And then, okay, what am I going to do tomorrow?
Yeah.
And then you just start over, right?
Mhm.
And then you start building that momentum again. Because
Yeah.
sometimes you just need that break. And I get that way. I do like 1,000 things. And then I go, whoa, pause.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I can start going again, and build that momentum up again. But sometimes you just need to have that pause.
Yeah.
It's really important for us to pause, not give up.
Mhm.
Because you don't want to give up on your dreams. You don't want to give up on the things that you want for
No.
your life. You don't want to give up on how you want to feel at the end of the year, accomplished and feel good and happy and enjoying more things and, living the adventure of whatever it is that you want for your life.
Mhm.
Of course not. So don't give up on it when you get overwhelmed. Take a step back, pause, and then start again.
Yeah.
So that's kind of one of the things that, I've learned in my, 4 decades on this planet at this point is like, if you give up, then you're kind of giving up on yourself.
Right.
And you don't want to do that because it's your life.
Yeah.
And you deserve to have all of the things that you want in it.
Yeah. Yeah. And you don't want to go through life with regrets. If you don't at least try something, you're going to regret it down the road. So at least try for your dreams, go after them. And they might change along the way, and that's okay.
Absolutely, they should.
And
we all evolve
and they
as we
always
go.
do. Yeah. And you'll find a lot of times things will come that are even better than you could have imagined. And you don't want to miss out on that by saying, oh, I have this goal and that's what I'm going to do. But there's this pretty shiny thing over here that I think is going to be a lot better, but I have to stick to my goal. No.
Go on a tangent to the shiny thing.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be even more amazing and it'll help you achieve the goal that you're already working on.
Right.
You never know.
Yeah, it will probably move you along a lot faster.
Not saying you should squirrel. But
No,
we are saying
not
if
not
you see
squirrel.
something you're like that you're inspired to do.
Right. Yeah.
Do that too.
Yeah. 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 It's so I mean, life is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be easy. And sometimes it's not, but you gotta keep moving forward and not giving up on those dreams that you really want to accomplish. Decide that you're going for it, don't give up.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about intentions too, is it allows for that flow.
Yeah.
It allows for me to flow here and flow there. It allows me to work on this intention and then work on this intention and work on them simultaneously.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm just working towards one thing. I'm I'm allowing myself to flow here and flow there and move forward still towards what I've been wanting, what I decided that I'm gonna have.
Yeah. And a good thing to do when you're setting up your intentions is asking why. Well, why do I want that thing? Maybe it's just the feeling that you want.
A lot of times that's the root.
Right. Yeah. It doesn't mean you have to have a whatever, something big, physical thing. Maybe you just want the feeling that that thing can give you.
Yes.
And you can get that a lot more often and a lot better another way or along the way.
And a lot easier. Like if you allow yourself to go, okay, well, what are some more things that match up with that feeling that I feel like I'll have when I have it? Then you can have that, like you said, that feeling along the way as on the way to that thing.
Yeah.
And then you'll get that thing and that'll feel great too. But then there'll be something more and there'll be something
Right.
else.
Yeah.
There'll be something different. And so, yeah, you don't have to have the thing to have the feeling.
Yeah.
In fact, you should have the feeling first.
Right.
To match up with the thing.
Yeah.
And then when you get the thing, you're like, oh, well, that was great. But I still want to have the feeling. So I want to continue with the other things that allow me to have that feeling of joy, of fun, of excitement, of adventure, whatever it is that you're wanting. And I really like that you brought that up because the feelings are often the root of what we actually want. That's the vibration we want, not the thing itself. But the emotion and how it feels and the fun and the excitement and the wonder, you know. And so that's one thing that a lot of people don't think about is like, okay, how will that make me feel? And then I want that feeling.
Yeah.
Because the thing would be great. You know, we're not saying don't want things. Of course you should want things. Things are wonderful. But we want you to know that you could have those feelings of having those things without having just things. So why do you want that? I love that. That's such a good point.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, when you reach that end result that you're looking for, if you're enjoying it along the way, it's going to be so much more, you're going to get so much more satisfaction out of that when you get there because you have enjoyed the hell out of your adventure to get there, you know?
Right.
It's just a sweeter way to live, I guess, to accomplish things when you are enjoying it the whole time.
Right. And for me, I think that's a huge intention for people to set is to enjoy the journey of my life, enjoy something every day, find the enjoyment in the little things throughout my day, throughout the week, throughout the year, because enjoyment, if you're enjoying it, well, aren't you also putting yourself in that vibration of receiving more of the things that you've intended to have?
Yeah.
Of course you are.
Yeah.
So why not set that as an intention so that you can start moving towards that at the same time as you move towards all the other things and you collectively just keep uplifting yourself.
Right.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And a lot of times you're having so much fun on the journey to get to that end intention that you get there and you're like, wow, that was so much easier than I thought it was going to be.
Right.
You know, because you're having so much fun.
And then what's next?
Yeah. And what's next?
And what's next? And that's the thing is like when you reach things that you wanted or goals that you wanted to achieve, if you've gone about that in that way, you will go, oh, you'll be inspired to what's next. You'll be excited about what's next. You're like, well, what else is there? What more wonderful things is there in this life? What more things can I want? What more things are there to move towards?
Yeah.
What else is going to happen? What else could go right?
What else can I do? Yeah. What else can go right is perfect. Yeah. You know, one thing you can do to when you're setting your intentions, don't try to be too broad and fit too many things in at once. Maybe for your year, you want to pick one thing for your business and one thing for your life in general, and focus on those more. And yeah, you can have the other little things too that you want, that you're intending, but those won't be your main focus. You know, don't try to pick, oh, I need to get 6 or 8 things done. you know, that's setting yourself up for failure.
Right.
But you can get to, and you might get them earlier than the end of the year. Maybe you achieve those intentions in 6 months.
Mhm.
Then you can go back and say, okay, what's next? What on my list can I work on now? Now that I have this part moving forward or almost there, I can add a couple more things because I'm feeling good and I have things moving forward. Things are flowing to me.
Right. And I think also it's important to remember that setting your intentions for your life isn't necessarily your to-do list.
Right. True.
That's kind of a separate thing
Yeah.
than what we're
Yeah.
talking about here. Yes, like you could have one or two goals that have to do with your to-do list,
Mhm.
but we're talking about more about setting your intention for how do I want to move forward?
Yeah.
What does that look like? What
Yeah.
does that feel like? What does it what is it that I really want for me
Mhm.
in my life and my career?
Yeah.
What are a couple of those things that those are the things I really want? What are the things that I have to have?
Mhm.
Have tos, I'm not big on have tos because you never have to do anything or want
Right.
anything.
Yeah.
But like, if there were two things that I had to pick in each area of
Mhm.
what I just, in
Right.
my heart of hearts, I want the most.
Yeah.
What are those couple of things? So I
Yeah.
can start moving towards those.
Mhm.
And all of the little details to get there don't matter as much as me making the decision that I'm gonna move this year towards those things.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes you can even do what I call a brain dump. And okay, I have these two things I want to achieve. What are all the things I can do to help me get there? So just dump them out on a notebook and start writing them down. That way, if you do start feeling a little stuck or feeling overwhelmed, you can go back and look and say, oh, I forgot about this. This will help me take a few steps forward,
Mhm.
So having a list of things that will start moving you forward again if you do get stuck is a good thing to do.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
Yeah.
And that you can do that at any time,
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
the beginning, middle, end, somewhere between all those things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do it
Yeah,
a
I
few times.
usually do that a few times a year, and I just came across one of those lists the other day, and I'm like, oh, I forgot about this, and I'm like, oh, I gotta put that back on my list. I'm excited to do that,
Yeah.
It didn't work out at the time, but now it feels good. So it's nice to have that, and it's fun to come across it. If you are a notebook freak, like I am, I know you have them on your phone, but
Yep.
I have notebooks that are fun to go look at because there's a lot of ideas that I forgot about that are in there.
I have my phone folders. Every time I'm inspired to something,
Yeah.
I create a note and I put it in the corresponding folder so I can come back to it. And yeah, I find some cool stuff in there too. It's like, wow, I don't remember thinking about that. That's amazing.
I need to be doing that.
Mhm. And that's where some of the best ideas come from. It's just,
Yeah.
when you get an idea, write it down. For me, like I said, I put it on my phone. I have like Samsung notes on my phone. And so I can just, put that in quick and then save it in the folder, whether it's business ideas or inspired thoughts or
Mhm.
class idea or whatever it is that I'm working
Yeah.
on. Then I put it in that folder and that way I can come back to it and I can look through those and get ideas. Like you said, if you ever feel stuck or you kind of lose your inspiration a little bit, you can come back to that. Wow,
Yeah.
that's a good idea. Or that one feels really good. Or that one
Yeah.
seems really fun, like you're doing.
Yeah.
And that's such a good idea.
Mhm.
That's a wonderful thing. We both do that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really good.
Mhm.
What else?
Well, one thing that we find is really helpful, and a lot of people do, is making your intentions visual.
Yeah.
Whether you
Mhm.
find pictures to represent them and you do a type of vision board thing, or you write it down, or you create like some people do like the visual maps of what they want or things
Mhm.
like that, and circles or whatever. Making it visual, putting it down on paper in some way
Yeah. Yeah.
so that you can see it and you
Yeah.
can feel it and you can put that intention into it can really help you start to bring it about. It makes it
Mhm.
tangible, it makes it real.
Yeah, there's something about hand on paper, for me anyway, that, it really, you get the feeling of it that way, or you get into the feeling of it easier, I think, than just thinking of something that you want, you know? And typing is good too, sometimes. I keep a notebook that is just for dreaming and manifesting, and just, you can, I saw a thing the other day, or it was a couple weeks ago, but about a magic pen. This gal that was teaching a workshop, she has a magic pen, she calls it, that is, with that pen, she manifests everything that she writes. And so she keeps that magic pen to write all her dreams and hopes with. And she knows they're gonna come true. So she's setting that intention when she writes anything with that pen, but
That's a really cool idea.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, because that's, everything is intention, everything is,
Yeah,
well, what you make it. So
yeah,
I love that.
yeah. And she said she's created some amazing things that she never, some of them that she wrote down, she never really believed that she could do it, and she did it.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, yeah. It's all in the energy of it, so.
Right. And I think a lot of people, especially if you're not too much of like a visual person in your own mind, if you take pictures of things that represent those things that you want and they get you into the feeling of that, that can be really helpful too. And that's why a lot of people, vision boards are really helpful, even big ones, small ones that you have in your phone, whatever you do with that. A lot of people that seeing those pictures of where they want to go, or things that represent how they want to feel, and every time they see that picture, it makes them feel that certain way that they're trying to bring more of into their life, or whatever. Those can be super helpful for people too, because myself, I'm a super, like, I can visualize everything in your mind. I know that's something that you have always been kind of like working on, but not everybody does that, right? And so it's something that can be really helpful if you can't see it in your mind's eye, to find things that represent it outside of you, so then you can use that to help yourself see it.
Yeah, yeah. And there's a lot of people that aren't visual at all unless they have it in front of them. They
Yes,
can't
and that's what I'm
picture it.
talking about. That black and white, I can't see it.
Yeah, yeah.
Makes it tangible for them.
Yeah. And it's nice to have a little notebook again for that. You can do it in a notebook like this and just flip through the pages sometimes, even a tiny little notebook in your purse, you can just have little pictures on things that you want.
Yeah, because everybody's different. So like we need different ways to do things so that it works for all of us.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no specific way to do any of it. Affirmations, goals, intentions. I don't even remember the word.
Resolutions.
Because
we don't use it.
I don't use it. It whatever works for you, do it. And feel good about it, because you're gonna get moving a lot easier by doing that.
Right. And like we said, if you're not sure, what's the feeling? What's one feeling that you want more of in your life? Everyone can think of one feeling that they want more of in their life.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great place to start when you're thinking about it. How do I want to feel when I look back on this year? And what are those things that I accomplished, and how did I feel while I was doing that? Just dream about that for a little bit. A lot of times we forget to really dream about those things. No matter what age you are, no matter who you are, where you live, what you're doing for a job, never forget to dream.
Yes.
And that really will get you inspired and feeling good about things that you want. Create a bucket list if you want.
Right.
And it's always good to have those things on a list that you'd love to see or do. Absolutely. That can be part of your intentions for the year.
Yeah, whether you feel like you can get it or not.
Yeah, yeah.
If you want it, put it on your list.
Right, yeah. It's good. And and it might feel really good to do it later in the year, you know, you might think, oh, I forgot about this. And there's a chance that I could go there right now, you know, I just heard about a trip to there, whatever, you know, you'll be amazed at how things will fall into your lap that you can do, you know, and it's because you thought of them 6 months ago or whatever,
right?
You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, one thing I was thinking about, sometimes what I get from people is they're like, well, I don't really want anything.
Yeah.
But what they're thinking about is things.
Yeah.
So people don't want things.
Right.
Well, absolutely you don't want things.
Yeah.
But you can start with, okay, so you don't want things. That's cool. But how do you want to feel?
Yeah.
You can start there. Everybody has a feeling they want more of and a feeling they want less of.
Yeah.
And you can start there. Well, what do you want to feel more of in your life? You know, and then that starts them thinking about, okay, well, I want this one feeling. And then that gets them thinking, associating with, well, what are some of the things that bring me that feeling? You know, whether it's experiences or people or whatever. It doesn't have to be things. Things are great, but not everybody wants things.
Right.
But they do want feelings in their life.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that a lot of times people who might be experiencing depression or things like that, they'll say, well, I don't really want anything. But you do know what you want when it comes to feelings, because you express that to yourself every single day. I want to feel this way. That's your intention. Yeah. So you're not intending for anything, but you're moving towards that intention. You're moving towards what you do want. Even, you know, if you're not thinking about things along the way, but maybe as you go, you'll be inspired to want this or want that, or oh, I'd really like to do that actually, or I want to go here, or I'd always wanted to have this adventure. And as you build yourself up the scale through moving towards that intention of a better feeling, you start to have the inspiration for other stuff that will make your life more fun and exciting and all the things that you've asked for. And so that's kind of the fun of it, is like you can always start there if you don't really have like a specific dream that you want. Yeah.
And I like, for me, you know, now in this place in my life, I'm thinking about getting rid of things. You know, I want to be freer and get rid of the physical things because I don't need them anymore. You know, a lot of things you hang on to them forever and you don't need them anymore. So I like to get rid of those things, but I want experiences. I want to see things. I want to go places. I want to do things. So that's more where my intentions are this year. Just living in that, you know, fun, adventurous life. I want to see things. I want to do things rather than I want, you know, whatever. So we were talking about maybe there aren't things that you want, like a gold bracelet or whatever, diamonds or whatever, you know, it's not the things, but it's how you want to feel. So when you're setting your intentions, the main thing is to think about how you want to feel at the end of the year or whatever it is.
Sorry. Yeah. Start there. And then decide that that's what you want. So you make the decision, you think, okay, this is what I want. This is how I want to feel at the end of the year in my life. This is how I want to feel in my business. Maybe a couple of feelings in there, you know, 2 or 3 each. And then you decide that that's what you're going to have.
Yeah.
So make the decision. So step 1 is decide, how do I want to feel? And step 2 is then making that decision. And then from there, you can move on to, okay, maybe there's a little bit of detail in there beyond that, but we don't want to go too far, because as you set your intentions, like we said, they're gonna evolve, they're gonna change, they're gonna become more, and you don't want to set yourself so rock solid that you can't, you know, achieve it, because you get overwhelmed with, oh my gosh, look at all the things I have to do to get there.
And when you're going along the way, if you started to feel a little like, oh, that doesn't feel good anymore, look back and think, well, is this getting to my intention? Is this getting me to that intention that I set? If
Am I
it's
on that
not,
path?
yeah, you might have fell off the path. You might be going down a different road, you know, that you don't want to go on. So just backtrack and reset and then move forward again. You know, once you realize or think about it and go, okay, this isn't getting me to my intention.
Mhm.
So I need to reset and turn the corner, pivot.
Yeah, so let's pay attention to where you need to pivot
Right.
while you're doing that. So that's definitely one of the things that
Mhm.
we want to remind people is it's okay to pivot. It's good to pivot. You
Yeah.
want to pivot when you feel stuck.
Right.
So then the next piece beyond, so the first three that we did, and then also you said, earlier,
Mhm.
start with the end game and then work yourself back so you can figure out your step one. So
Yeah.
that would be what we would do next. It's like, okay, we figured out we want that big picture at the end to look
Mhm.
like end of the year. And then we're going to backtrack to figure out, okay, so what is my step one, maybe towards each of those feelings.
Right.
And I'm going to start there and then
Yep.
make my short game plan.
Yeah.
So that I can start moving towards my end game without that overwhelm. And then when you get the overwhelm, that's when you need to notice that. So that needs to be part of it where you're paying attention to how you feel. Like we always talk about pay attention to how you feel in your body and your mind and how you're feeling overall. So that you know when it's time to pivot. When you're like, okay, well, I'm not getting anywhere here. Maybe I'll shift my focus to this other intention for a little while.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'll take a step back and I'll take a pause and then decide which one feels the best to move towards now. So you're giving yourself some leeway and freedom. And that's a lot of problems
Freedom
people
is the
have,
key, yeah.
is they're not giving themselves the freedom to pivot like that.
Yeah. Yeah, don't keep pushing forward if it's not feeling good anymore. If you're feeling like something's wonky, something's not feeling right. Am I ever gonna get there? I don't feel like I'm making progress towards the intention that I want. Well, then you really need to step back and pivot. That's the time. Don't keep going and going when it's not feeling good.
What's my body trying to tell me?
Yeah, yeah. We talk about that every week. Listen to your body, listen to what your body's trying to tell you, because it'll tell you when you get off track. It'll tell you when you're going towards something that isn't gonna feel good when you get there. So pay attention.
And take that time
Mm-hmm.
to dream. Take that time
Yeah.
to imagine how could it be even better than that.
Right. And people that meditate and teach about meditation a lot of times will say, if you don't think you have time to meditate, instead of going for 5 minutes, take an hour. If you feel like you don't have time to exercise, take an hour-long walk. Do the things that you think you don't have time for, because you're gonna find inspiration in that time of doing, taking the day off, taking the half a day off. You're gonna be so much farther ahead if you reset yourself and take that time that you need. That it's not gonna, it's so much more beneficial to do that than to push forward, and then you're gonna have to do that anyway.
You're so much more productive when you don't push.
Right, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
100%.
so good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you've gotten some ideas about intention. I hope you'll feel good and think about what you want to feel like in December of 2025. And I hope you'll have an easy year getting there.
Yeah, and a fun year.
Yeah.
Filled with fun and adventure and joy and excitement.
Yeah.
And inspiration towards what's next.
Yeah. How does it get better than this?
How does it? Let's find out.
I love it. Yes, let's go.
Let's find out together.
Yeah. So, Carissa, where can we find you on the wonderful interwebs?
the interwebs. You can find me at Light of Hope Healing on Facebook. You can find us collectively on Facebook at Our Soul Space. And then I'm on YouTube here at SoulSpace Podcast. Working on building out more stuff for you guys to see. Still working on my website. It's not gorgeous yet. Don't go there. I won't tell you about it. Working on it. It will be gorgeous.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's where you can find me. Tracy, where can we find you if people want to connect?
You can find me at inspiredsignals.com, my website. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. But all my links are on my website, inspiredsignals.com.
Novel concept.
Yeah. You'll get there. You will. That's your intention.
I'm on my way.
Yeah.
I've been on my way and it's going great, actually.
Yeah.
I'm getting there.
Yeah.
And then for everyone who's local here in Fargo, West Fargo, Moorhead area, we are doing an event on Saturday together with ourselves and our friend Sandra, who moved into our building recently.
Yeah.
It's called Radiant Renewal, Ignite Your Spiritual Spark for the New Year. And we're all going to be doing individual mini sessions for you to try some of our wonderful healing work.
Yeah.
We're going to be, Tracy and I are going to do one of our world famous kind of not really galleries, but that are so much fun. And every time we have them, people are like, oh my gosh, this was a blast. And we're like, yes, it was.
Yeah.
So join us for that as well. We're just going to have a wonderful time. And it starts at 11:11.
11:11 on the 11th.
On the 11th. On 1/11.
Yeah.
So come join us for that. It's going to be so much fun.
Good day to do a little self-care and have some fun. And we'll have a few vendor things here to sell, and it'll just be a nice day.
We love handmade stuff.
Yeah.
We all make different things and
we're all makers and creators. So come and see what we have to offer. And we'd like to meet you. We'd like to have some fun. So, yeah.
If you don't know our address, go to one of our websites.
Yeah. We'll find it. And we do have an event on Facebook if you want to find that. So Radiant Renewal, it's called.
Yes.
All right. We'll see you next week. I hope you have an amazing rest of your week this week.
Absolutely. Start with setting those intentions.
Yeah.
Pick one and go from there.
Yeah. Have fun.
All right, bye, guys.
Bye-bye.